Haiti is one of the 4 tropical island nations situated in the greater Antillean archipelago islands of South America. Haiti is considered a developing country, still fledgling economically and the poorest nation of the Americas. January 12, 2010, a powerful earthquake struck Haiti, and more so its capital, Port-au-Prince, without mercy. A new but dark chapter dawned yet on this already harrowed nation. Humanity First, a global volunteer-based aid organization and which readily had a base in Haiti, immediately joined in the task of sustaining the survivors.
On January 12th, 2010, I was at the office around 4:45. I got a call that there was an earthquake in Haiti. So I quickly got on the internet and we found out that there is a major earthquake over there, 7 Richter. So right away I called my team members and said, find out what's going on there. And we had a local team over there, we had a local office over there. So we immediately tried to contact them, but unfortunately the phone lines were down. So there was no information whether our team members were safe or not, whether our office was safe or not. We couldn't find it. So ultimately, we made a decision that we have to send a first response team to make an assessment of the needs, and then what our response should be. That should be decided as soon as possible. And within a couple of days, we were able to send our team to Haiti. So we got a flight from Toronto to Dominican Republic. From there, we rented some cars, and I sent our team to say that just drive, find your way from there, use local maps, local resources, and be there and tell me.
We have a lot of supplies with us to send with our team because nobody knows what they need over there. So we have solar panel, we have a lot of MREs for them. We negotiated with the airline that what they can help us in this respect. And I really appreciate American Airlines. They gave us a good deal that we can send almost 5 pieces of 60-70 pound with everybody over there. So that helped a lot.
Immediately when we got into Port-au-Prince, we saw mass-scale destruction. You had to basically avoid buildings while you were driving. I mean, they were out on the road. It was absolute rubble. Everywhere you looked, everywhere you turned, every street corner you came to, you saw something completely toppled over. You know, there's a massive tent city area there. You know, they call it tent city, but the fact of the matter is most of the people there don't even have any tents. So there's no roof over their heads whatsoever. You have small babies, you have elderly people, you have almost every other person is injured. Everything we saw on TV, it just came to life and got, you know, had such an impact on us that for a while everybody was quiet. I mean, you just couldn't believe what you were looking at. From there we made it to our location, and we were glad to see, we were excited to see that our building, the 2-story house basically, was still standing. It was evident to us there was absolutely no electricity there. No light, we didn't have any generator on us, there was no running water.
For the most part, Port-au-Prince, its roughly 40 kilometers surrounding area, was totally ravaged in the catastrophe. Its people held on to hope. Humanity First volunteer teams joined them and immediately set to the task of trying to mend the homes and wounds of the people. With only scarce resources, makeshift labor, the shoveling of debris and re-establishment of electrical power were possible.
We run that generator to establish electricity in our clinic. We also arrange a water system. We install a pump and we run the water, and fortunately our clinic, after 4 or 5 days after we have electricity basic needs, so everyone was happy.
With even much effort, cooking material and medical supplies were only so much, so far particularly those acceptable in hygiene. There were a lot of ends to meet and not a lot to meet them with. Thus was set a daunting uphill task.
that skin?
Yeah. It's just a layer of dead skin, but it'll come off.
Hello world, humanitarian first. My name's Richard Godfrey and stuff. I've been down here for, got almost 2 weeks in Haiti, Hilton and stuff. Well, not exactly and stuff, but a great bunch of people, and we haven't been able to eat mostly noodles and rice, but it's been great. First medical clinic, or medical camp, so they call it. I've been down here almost 2 weeks. From what I understand, they were seeing 300 to 400 people a day. We're down to about 200. By noon today, we've seen over 150 people. Anywhere from infected wounds, people with asthma, lacerations, a lot of colds down here. We're actually living on the streets with the people from Haiti. We have no security here other than a couple of guys that stay up all night. We probably have $150,000, $200,000 worth of drugs in our clinic. Just bags and bags of things that we're distributing that was donated to us that we're actually distributing to the local hospitals down here, things that they can use for surgery.
The patients were in the beginning mainly the traumatic patients who suffered from the main earthquake. But we were dealing with a large number of patients who were so fearful because after the main earthquake, there were other shocks coming.
We set up a number of mobile medical camps while we were down there. Generally speaking, we found out about a lot of those locations through locals that we were working with. We found some through connections with the local Humanity First chairman in Haiti. And through a number of those volunteer sources, we were able to locate a number of settlement camps, post-earthquake settlement camps, that for the most part had not been seen by other medical staff. So generally what we would try and do, depending on the medical team that was down there at the time, we would often run a medical camp at our base camp in the morning, where we would typically see around 150 patients, and then load up and do a mobile medical camp in the afternoon. And on average, I would say we saw around 250 to 300 patients a day in the afternoon. So all said and told, you were seeing sort of 350 to 400 patients a day between two medical camps.
At the time of my arrival, which was about 3 weeks after the quake, we had linked up with a camp, refugee camp, in an abandoned sports complex. Most people did not have tents, unfortunately. They were mostly under blue tarpaulins, and at night when the rain came, all of the things got wet, I'm sure. The condition of the people were varied. There was obviously, we were seeing medical conditions that were related to the fact that people were living in close quarters. So we saw many rashes and parasites like scabies, and there was quite a bit of diarrhea. People were having fever and diarrhea. And then there was primarily a lot of follow-up. So those that had had orthopedic procedures and those that had wounds that were managed, we were needing to look after their wounds.
Shortly after my arrival in Haiti, we had the opportunity to attend a UN meeting. I believe it was on shelter and food distribution at the UN camp in Port-au-Prince. And while we were there, we were introduced to a lady named Junie, who was a local Haitian woman who was in conjunction with some other local women and men trying to run a settlement camp of around 7,000 people at a sports facility called the Dadadou Sports Complex in Port-au-Prince. And we're seeking general assistance and trying to get some help for their camp. And Humanity First was instrumental in getting an additional medical need to their camp, running clinics there on a medical standpoint, as well as trying to get that camp organized and registered with the United Nations in an effort to try and get food and sanitation projects going for that camp. And it took us quite a while. We were probably pursuing that every day for close to a week to 10 days, I would say, before we could finally arrange to get the connection made between World Vision and the Dadadou camp through Humanity First to try and get food distribution there. And it did finally happen, and was a great experience.
In a land experiencing a catastrophic quake's after effects, shortage of clean, drinkable water is perhaps the most pressing concern. A process was thus initiated to expedite the shipping of aqua boxes, Arranged by patrons and readers of the Derby Telegraph in the UK, 630 aqua boxes were donated to begin the process. These boxes proved to be a quick, reliable source of aid.
We were also lucky that what we were doing caught the attention of Canadian national television. CBC reporter Paul Hunter was present in Port-au-Prince at the time. He saw what we were doing, he became interested, and he actually asked to come out and shoot the entire process of us receiving the people at the camp, at our base camp, loading up the trucks, driving the trucks there, unloading the aqua boxes at the camp, throughout the distribution of them. And then we were also able to open one box for demonstration purposes and share with Paul Hunter and his CBC crew the contents of the box.
This box it's called an aqua box. It is from England. What is inside is a filter which can take out most of the contaminants that we find here. Also has some supplies for a small family. So we will have some bags, some children's clothes,
You can put them down.
books, some supplies. We have some big nails for the construction, some other tools, some wire.
Here, as a physician, I see fractures all the time, but the difference is that the imposing force is transient. In other words, someone falls down, someone gets hit by a car, and then the force is finished. The difference in the pathology that we saw in the earthquake was that the fractures were complicated by maintained pressure. So the building or the brick was maintained force on the wound, and the skin would break down, muscle would break down, and there were also associated nerve injuries. So it wasn't, they were very complicated fractures and complicated injuries with infection, and this was one of the problems that we were dealing with.
The treatment of trauma-related injuries was an ongoing challenge for the always short-handed medical services staff in the area. In spite of the limited resources and skilled hands, complex surgical procedures to heal irreparable toxic wounds were carried out in various medical services camps. One such young woman was in danger of losing both her arms that had been crushed, and now with severely infected wounds. An amputation was seen as the last resort. However, she remained adamant in refusing that outcome. When she approached Humanity First, it was like a saving grace. With the realization that hope should thrive, Humanity First volunteers tried to best coordinate with available medical personnel with the skills and necessary resources, and who then agreed to take extensive measures to arrange a plastic surgery procedure to save her arms. A new chance for a weary and ailing woman, most of whose life was ahead of her.
As it happened that Lieutenant Colonel LaPlante, who was a commanding officer of the helicopter battalion, was present at the clinic at the time of the inauguration. In fact, he and Dr. Khalifa and Lynn Berger, one of the nurses present, joined hands together to ceremoniously cut the ribbon, which was actually a bandage, to cut the bandage to officially inaugurate the clinic. And throughout our stay, the Canadian Forces returned time after time to provide us with surplus equipment. In fact, after the Army had left and the movement people were closing the camp down, we got additional calls. We were able to go back and retrieve more water and more food.
With several discontinued services and hazardous travel routes, even transportation of volunteers required much pre-thought and preparation. In the current condition of state emergency, transportation was an arduous task, leave alone carrying a plane load of people to and from the disaster zone. However, with some planning and a lot of deliberation, coordination with the designated aid personnel of the United Nations, transport by air was arranged. In the readily challenging situation, the limited capacity of flights posed another issue. The aid medical resources, and other necessary supplies could not be transported along with the volunteers. This situation saw Humanity First set up an additional base camp in Santo Domingo. This base camp was primarily responsible for ground transportation of staff and supplies to Port-au-Prince.
Humanity First was one of the first 18 organizations that reached Haiti after the earthquake, and we were able to start the response, the medical response right away. So we were the first group which worked with the United Nations. We collaborated with them. We regularly attended the meetings of OCHA, United Nations, World Food Program, and other organizations. We worked in collaboration with them. We offered what we could offer to them, and we got assistance from them, whatever we needed from them. And in collaboration, we were able to do a very good response over there. In addition, we also offered CIDA. CIDA is a Canadian International Development Agency. And we said to them that Humanity First is already there. We are already working them. So CIDA was very interested to find out what we were doing. So they invited us to meet in Haiti. So I personally went there and met with the CIDA officials, explained to them what Humanity First is doing and how we respond, what our structures are. And then they got interested. They said that they would like to visit our medical camp. So later, CIDA officials came and visited our medical camp to find out and to see actually what we are doing. So this was the beginning of a building of a relationship with CIDA as well. Now we are working on building some orphanage and schools in Haiti. We are trying to get suitable locations. Unfortunately, the response is very slow. The debris is being currently removed, and now they are working on looking into long-term construction, intermediate solutions. So we are working with government agencies, we are working with our local volunteers to identify suitable projects where we can help the Haitians to get back on their feet.
The task at hand is far from over, and with each ailment mended come new wounds, with each life saved turn up more in need of saving. Humanity First and its volunteers forge ahead, hand in hand, to stare hopelessness in the eye and defy it. For hope is what the souls of Haiti need to live and see another day, as do so many around the globe.